Good morning, everyone, and happy Saturday. How's everyone doing this morning?
Hey, good
Good
morning,
morning.
everybody.
Happy Saturday.
Great
Happy
week.
Saturday.
All right. Well, I tell you, that's a lot of hoorahs out there, especially for people that are in different time zones. This is 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and there's people in Central Time and probably other time zones as well. So we appreciate everybody that wants to join in for the live version of the Saturday morning Health Point Walk and Talk. For those that don't catch this live, these episodes do get uploaded onto Voices of Health Point on YouTube. So again, for those that are new, this is basically a group of like-minded people, coaches, and clients that are all working through the Health Point program, the Health Point 6-week cycle program. And we just like to gather once a week and talk all things health, and it's a lot of fun. We start off with some docket items typically, and then the real fun is kind of going through things just round robin. And we never know where these things are going to go. I mean, it's amazing. We've been doing this for, well, I think we just uploaded our 100th episode the other week. And so we've been doing this for a while, and it's really fun and unpredictable, some of the topics that we'll get on, but it's all related to health. So I'm going to jump right into my docket item. I've got a docket item on freedom, family, hope, and reward. Some of you might recognize that. And we've got Carol that's going to be doing a docket item on, a big part of Health Point is what we call PIF, paying it forward. And just that people are everywhere. And Carol's got an example on that. And I don't want to steal her thunder, but she's going to talk a little bit about an experience that she had in terms of paying it forward. So let me kind of jump into my segment. And again, some of you, particularly the business owners, the coaches, are familiar with this phrase: freedom, family, hope, and reward. And that is something that I was kind of recently inspired by. That is typically regarding the business aspects of our model. I'm going to look at it from a Health Point angle to that as well. Freedom, family, hope, reward. These aren't just abstract ideals. They're the foundation of a meaningful health journey. Behind every effort to eat better, move more, or feel stronger lies something deeper: a desire for freedom, a connection to family, a spark of hope, and the pursuit of lasting reward. Freedom. True freedom isn't just time or money. It's about health. Without it, freedom quietly slips away. Energy crashes, blood sugar swings, cravings, and medications can gradually limit the life you want to live. Freedom means having the energy to enjoy your day, confidence in your food choices, the strength to play, travel, dance, and live fully. With better habits and greater awareness of how the body works, it's possible to lose weight, balance blood sugar, and reclaim a sense of control. That's real freedom. Family. Family can mean the people that you live with, the friends you lean on, or the community you grow with. When health declines, relationships are affected too. Missed memories, short tempers, quiet worries. Getting healthy isn't selfish. It's one of the most generous things you can do for those you love. When you feel better, you show up better. Your presence, patience, and energy improve. And when support and accountability are part of the process, no one has to do it alone. Hope. Hope is what carries us forward, especially when the scale stalls or past attempts have failed. Many people have been shamed, blamed, and burned out by programs that overpromise and underdeliver. But hope returns when a clear, science-backed approach meets daily support and encouragement. Hope that the body can heal. Hope that it's not too late. Hope that the next chapter can be the best one yet. We've seen decades of damage begin to reverse in just weeks. That's not hype. It's hope with a plan. Reward. The reward isn't just in the numbers. It's in the mirror, in the way your clothes fit, in the renewed energy, and how it feels to wake up proud of your choices. It's in the steady moods, the clear skin, the better sleep, and the compliments from friends. Progress, not perfection, is what matters. The journey rewards consistency, not extremes. Freedom, family, hope, reward. These aren't just words, they're values already inside you. The Health Point program helps bring them into sharper focus, creating space for change that feels grounded, personal, and lasting. Okay, so those, again, coaches, business owners, freedom, family, hope, reward, as many of you will recognize, are the four founding principles that Rich DeVos and Jay Van Andel, and it's actually at the world headquarters of Amway Corporation. And these are the values that the the legacy continues. I was recently inspired by watching something by second generation and third generation of the DeVos and Van Andels talking about these principles. And so I thought I would do a bit of a little bit of an angle on it, because in audio 6 in our global app, where there's basically a walkthrough, a 13-minute walkthrough of the Health Point program, it kind of concludes by talking about health is wealth, right? It's not just about making money. Yes, that's important. That's great. It's not just about time freedom. Yes, that's great, but also having your health along with that. So it's my belief that health is a real, when you talk about freedom, family, hope, and reward, it's really that is embedded within Health Point. So it's one of the things that I'm passionate about when I'm working with people. So I'll open it up to any thoughts or comments, or just moving on to a next docket item. And but let me just kind of unpack that a little bit. I was talking with somebody recently that was looking at the program, and I know I've shared this a number of times, maybe here on the Voices of Health Point, but when I look at, let's just take America alone, and we know this is a worldwide program, but just in America alone, if we take a look at just at the numbers, that's 300 and something million people in America. And what are the numbers on how many people are, insulin resistant and, starting to develop, chronic diseases like, type 2 diabetes and so forth. One of the things that happens with that is just, this is literally a decrease in energy. We've gotten into the science of that with mitochondria very many times, so I won't get all geeky and nerdy on that, but it's literally less energy. So the way I kind of view this in terms of a mission is there is so much untapped potential within America, within Americans, if more and more of them can get healthy and clear-headed. And it doesn't matter whether this is what I was sharing with somebody the other day. It doesn't matter whether somebody, with that energy, with that clarity, they want to be, their passion is to be, a poet, or to dig ditches, or to be, a Nobel Prize winner. Whatever it is that's in their heart is in their dream. If you wake up every day lethargic and foggy, it's pretty tough to pursue that passion. And the way I punctuated it with this person, and we were just kind of riffing about this, is that, we all get, flu bugs or colds once in a while, where you wake. Hopefully they're just a handful of days. How focused are you on your dreams? How focused are you on your passions? If you want to be a great painter or an author, if you wake up and if you got a fever and you're sick, how easily can you work on that? Probably not too easily. And so what I was explaining to this person is just quietly, through uh, often correlated with weight gain, there's an insulin resistance, a blood sugar dysregularity that occurs that sets up maybe not a hardcore fever, but a slow diminishing of your energy and your passions, and your dreams die. And so what I see in Health Point, kind of in the backdrop, I don't overwhelm a new client with this, but in the back of my mind, I'm like, let's unlock your whatever it is that you want to do in life. Let's get you to the healthiest state that we can together, so that whatever it is that you want to do, whatever fires you up, you've got the energy and the zest to be able to do that. So I think when I heard, freedom, family, hope, and reward yet again, that I thought that was very fitting for what we do. So that's my expanded take on that. All right. Anybody else? All right.
I love the words that you used, hope, not hype. And I think that really explains Health Point so much, because there's so much hype out there. I mean, I am inundated in my emails with all these quick fix, these, Band-Aids here, Band-Aids there, not to go into any details, but there's so much hype out there. And what our program does is, I think, a certain amount of hype, excitement, and hope for the future, but it's more hope that if I do these changes and I make these adjustments, that I will get to the result I want, which is very different than some of the things that are out there in the marketplace. You just take this pill or you do this one thing and no change. And so I think that's why it's so important early in the game, when you're putting somebody on the program, to stay really, really tight with them and build a really good relationship, because it is going to be a long-standing change. And I think Nicole brings that out really, really well in a lot of her preambles, which are amazing. And this is a lifestyle you're choosing. This isn't I want 20 pounds off for the next wedding or reunion or whatever. This is not that. And so you have to, it's important that new people, I'll speak to you, that you stay very, very tight with your mentor. And for those of you that are mentors or coaches, that you stay very tight and help them through those first couple of cycles as they are making changes in their habits. So it doesn't just become a hype. They're on 1 month and then they don't respond the next month and they've lost interest. It's important in those first couple of cycles to really stay tight. So I love that. Hope, not hype. That's great, Eric.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks for expanding on that. It's yeah, I can't even say any more. I mean, the thing that I was going to key in, but you covered it so well, is on particularly in those early days and weeks, of that first cycle. So valuable to punctuate that like you did, Carol, where people are really starting to, get that hope. You can almost see it in their eyes where they're
Mhm.
like, I'm getting this, I'm understanding this, and this is working. This is wonderful. Wonderful. Thank you.
And I think helping them to, um, and I love what Eileen did on her PDF, and she added in those daily messages and the daily reading, even 10 minutes a day of reading. One person hasn't read any of this type of thing for a long time, or the um, really, really, really good audios, even those first 5, to get them in the audio listening habit. Those are things that are very, very strange to people. They do not listen to audios every day. They listen to talk radio or they listen to this or that in the car. And so we have to help them to develop that habit. And after, first cycle or so, and they're listening to these amazing speakers and these amazing topics, they'll think, whoa, where was this all my life? This is absolutely life changing. And they start to see the value of it, where you don't have to be reminding them. But again, it's probably one of the most important things on your little checklist, and that is daily audio listening, because you're supplementing your brain along with supplementing your body and making those changes.
Love that. Supplementing your brain versus, and as well as supplementing your body. I mean, the rest of your body, of course, your brain is part of your body, but supplementing it with the audios.
Maybe, maybe not.
Yeah, there's been days where we all wonder, right? Where did my brain go? Oh, there it is, over there on a shelf. I thought it was part of my body, but today, not so much.
It's a revelation to me that the brain doesn't work independently from the body. And, mine does constantly. So anyway, yeah, I'm sure all of this has something to do with it too.
Yeah, love that. Love that. Anybody else? Some comments? Some thoughts?
Well, I'll share. And having just gone through a health journey, I'm aware of the quote, the healthy man has hundreds of dreams, and someone with a serious illness has but one. And and so I knew at the end of last year that I was having cancer surgery at the end of March. And so I've been in health point maintenance for more than 10 years. But back in January, I got on the program tight, very clean, 100%. And for 3 months, I followed the program because I wanted to be as healthy as I could be before I went in for some major surgery. And I lost another 5 pounds, which I was kind of amazed at because I thought I was doing pretty good. But so just to say, I'm grateful for Health Point because when I went in so it's a 6-month recovery. So I'm not even 6 months yet. But after 2 months, I saw my doctor and he was amazed at how quickly I have on the recovery process. And so, and I just put a lot of that into the Nutrilite and Health Point and this community and having my head right and expecting good things to happen. And so so a key point for me is we never know if we're going to have emergency surgery. You don't know if you're going to get, something's going to happen to you and you have to go in for, and so it's really kind of important to keep yourself as close to really, really healthy so that you have that freedom, but also in case of any of those kind of emergencies come up.
That's a great point, David, that, having your body as healthy as possible, through a program like this to be able to deal with sometimes unexpected. It could be, some sort of acute injury, or it could be something, of a disease that has kind of crept up and it's going to call for something invasive like surgery, and to be as healthy as possible for that is a huge, huge deal for sure.
I can chime in on that because I've had some weird stuff that nobody can figure out. But the nice thing has been, I can tell them, hey, since January for sure, I haven't had any processed food. I haven't done this. They always say, well, now you've lost a lot of weight, and they get worried about that. And then I say, well, yeah, but that's from moving more and eating right. And they go, oh, I said, is that creating a problem? They go, oh, no, keep it up, keep it up. So, it's like they said, it's nice you don't know when things like that are going to happen. And so to have that not be the reason, or for that to be a factor for them to not have to talk about and deal with is an extra plus. I mean, that's all you can do as a patient is do what you can do. And so that seems to be nice. And like you say, you never know when something's going to go in, and at least they can't just write it off to the way you're eating or not moving. Anyway, that's all.
Right.
Hello, Eric.
Good morning. Good morning.
It's Hank here. How you doing?
Good, Hank. I wasn't sure who that was, but good morning, Hank.
That's me. Just want to share a quick experience I had yesterday. I took our lease car in for service to the dealership. And of course, you go in the waiting room, wait to get service. There's one other gentleman waiting for his car. And I saw a cap on the table in front of him. It said Navy on it. I picked up on something I could start the conversation with. I saw that and I said, "Oh, you were in the Navy." He says, "Yes." Then we got chatting anyway. And he told me, he says, "I'm 84 years old." That's him. And he said, I'm waiting for the car, but my son drove me over here. I'm just sitting here in case you have any questions, because he's got to pick me back up and drive me home. I said, ooh, 84 years old, can't even drive himself anymore. And then he started telling me his wife is diabetic. I mean, it went on and on and on. It made me realize and really appreciate our lifestyle through Health Point, long term. And then he asked me, he said, how old are you? I, I was almost hesitant to tell him, excuse me. Said, well, I'm going to be 92 next month. He said, well, what? I said, yeah. He says, who's picking you up? I said, I drove over here, and so it just made me realize and appreciate healthy lifestyle, proper eating that we learned through Health Point, how it pays off. And here I am, 8 years older than he was, and here the guy can't even drive himself anymore. And his wife is diabetic. He was not open to ideas, but just shared thoughts. Just want to share that with you.
I
Excuse me.
love that, Hank.
Let me tell
You might, if you're, it just makes me reflect back on, one of the tenets I talked about earlier, in my segment anyways, that the freedom, freedom, family, hope, and reward. And here you are, freedom, Hank. You're not relying on anyone else. You're able to, drive yourself around. And I wish I could have been there, a fly on the wall, when he says, well, how old are you? I'm going to be 92. What? So no, that's what this is all about, right? Not just health for health reasons, but health for the ability to enjoy the things that you want to do, to have the energy and the health to be able to put your passions, the things that you are passionate about, to be able to work on those. Love that. Love that. Well, Carol, I wanted to pick up a little bit on something that you mentioned. And, as much as I do this, as we all do this, and working with people on Health Point, it's always so good to get a fresh reminder. You mentioned about how people coming into this, feeding their mind, supplementing their mind with the audios isn't necessarily something that is anything that might be very bizarre to them, right? And how strange that, what a great reminder, Carol, to say, for those of us that, I can't remember the last day that I didn't listen to an audio. I mean, like literally, I cannot remember, because it's like asking me, well, when's the last day you forgot to breathe? I mean, it's that much of just kind of the lifestyle, right? You eat, you breathe, you drink water, you sleep, you listen to audios, you talk with you. It's just in that, it's not something where I'm making like this concerted effort to do that. But all the more reason for us to be reminded by, a statement like that from you, Carol, that for new people, this can be very, like, literally bizarre to them at first. And so what that reminds me of is as we hear so often, I think it's Nancy Dornan that says, teach deliberately what you do instinctively, right? These things that just become like breathing. It's not like breathing for other people. But to your point also, Carol, once people start engaging in the audios, they're kind of like, wow, this is really phenomenal. I really enjoy these. And it quickly becomes something that is integrated into their life, and they're really enjoying it. But I think we've got to always get that fresh reminder that it can be strange for somebody out of the gate. For the rest of us, it's very natural and common and a daily habit. But yeah, thanks for that reminder, Carol. That was a good reminder for me, I'll tell you that.
I think it's important also to be listening to with a brand new person. If he's like spanking brand new, listen to those audios along with him for the first couple of weeks, and maybe make a comment on the audio and ask them, what point did you get from that audio? This is what I found. What did you find? What hit you? And you get a little conversation going back and forth, texting, whatever it is. And then those audios start to become real. They're not just listening while they're doing something else. This is something that they're internalizing now. And that
Yeah.
internalization makes the change.
Yep. Yeah. So true.
Hey.
And also you won't know when you're kind of surprised by things, because actually on that point, I had some new people starting. So I thought, well, it was just kind of like somewhat intuitive for me to just go back to audio number 1 in the orange dots and just, they're short in their beginning. I mean, it was easy for me to just think, I know this. So when they listen to it, I'm going to know exactly. But surprise, surprise, the the audio had changed. So for those that haven't visited it in a while, go back to audios 1 through 5. There's a whole new deck, and they're phenomenal. And so I'm like, wow, well, this was good, because otherwise I would have been, not that there's like a major content change, right? They're talking about, what the health point program is. They're talking about, basics of snacking, of walking, of supplementation, etc. But it was different than the last time I had listened to it. I mean, like literally different. So that was a little surprise bonus, I guess. This global app is just a powerful new asset that's been added into the Health Point toolkit, and it's dynamic, it's evolving, and I hope it continues to evolve. We are a dynamic business. We are, through the footprint of Network 21, they are able to capture the intellectual property of extreme high-level leaders on a global basis, and that are somewhere on some stage. It's not always Australia. It could be, Inner Mongolia, and somebody's given a talk, and they have the recording of it, and they will, if it's a good fit for the Health Point, 89 audios, or maybe they'll make it 890, maybe they'll add an audio. They'll put it in there if they see fit. So I love that it's dynamic and changing.
Hey, Eric. It's
yes.
Kathy. It's
Hey,
Kathy. Hey, so I was just kind of thinking about that, like you say, it's definitely not, listening to audios is not an ingrained new thing, grained thing for new people. And I was just thinking about another plug for the good old Atomic Habits book with the habit stacking. And then this, of course, coming from the Step Health Queen. When they're doing their walking, they can listen to their audio. If they're not sure of a certain time to fit an audio into their life, that might be somewhere where they can, like for me, when I'm on my lunch hour, perfect time to listen to an audio while I'm walking the parking lot, so, or another thing, as a busy work lady, I like to listen to mine. I usually listen to Nicole while I'm getting ready in the morning, and start the other audio, and then finish it in the car on the way to work. So just a couple different places where you can think, maybe in my normal routine, maybe I can fit this in. And that's what they call habit stacking in James Clear's book. So I just thought I would kind of throw that out there as some little hot tips for the day, I guess.
This is great. Love that. Hot tips. Yeah, the habit stacking. James Clear, and his book, Atomic Habits. Yeah, that's great, Kathy. Thank you for that.
Kathy, thank you for always promoting that book. And Debbie Llewellyn, who is on the program today, just recently bought the book, and partially because of your consistent promoting of that book. So thank you, Kathy.
Yay, Kathy.
No problem. Like I said, it totally changed my life. So when you find something like that and conquer your negative thoughts, how they just impact your life so much, it's about paying it forward. And those are two things in my life that made a big difference, and I pay it forward every chance I can. So happy to help.
Excellent. Well, speaking of PIF, paying it forward, Carol, if I know you had a had a bit of a story on that, and I wondered if you could, if it's good timing for you to share on that.
Sure. Also, you talked, Eric, about the dynamics sometimes changing a little bit or the content changing a little bit on your global app. And I think I listened to every message before it came out. I was lucky to be able to do that. And honestly, some of the things that are going on the WhatsApp Health Point audio club, I swear I didn't hear before. So it's either been added in, and there was one I couldn't find. So I either didn't find it or something else has been added in. So I think it will take on a little dynamics. And in particular, because of what the girls in Australia, Kathy and um, Katrina, and all of the other wonderful people, they're continuing to grow and build and come up with different stories. And I think that that is going to be reflected in the global app also when new things come out. So you might see some shifting. So that's why we as leaders, it's really important for us to continue to listen and get ideas from different people. I would say that the brand new person, I would walk with them and just have them go through the full 2 cycles day to day and listen along with them. I mean, that's an education in itself. If you just listen along with your brand new person and even listen with the idea of what can I ask them? What can I share? What can I ask them about what they learned? And then all of that, it just helps you grow as a person, help you take full advantage of the app, and help them to create that habit and see the power and the richness of that. Because we can say to a new person, oh, you got to listen to these audios. They're absolutely fabulous. They'll transform you, blah, 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 blah. But you're talking to a blank canvas. These people have no background on what you're talking about. And so to go along with them and do that, I think you'll learn that if there is changes, you'll be able to pick up on them, changes, additions, but you'll also be able to really help that person and to help them duplicate that. So as they become a coach, they can do the same thing. So
Yeah.
anyway, yeah, so that was my little take there. But Hank was talking about, yesterday, and we get this all the time. Hank will share his age and people will drop their teeth. They can't believe what age he is. And and he said something that we just automatically feel is normal is, yeah, he's 92 and he's driving himself all over the place. I mean, he's not taking road trips, but he's driving himself all over the place. I don't have to take him here and take him there. We're very blessed and we're very grateful. And believe me, we're always, good morning. We're always, always, always grateful. We never do this braggartly. We do this with much gratitude and gratefulness because we know that health ultimately comes from the Lord. But all of that we can help along the way. And so anyway, we were in the eye doctor. So, Hank had cataracts. Finally at 92 or 91, he decided he'd get these cataracts taken care of. And even then the doctor said, you don't have to do it right away. If you got company coming in, but whenever you're probably ready to go. So he did, and he got them done and what have you. And I think he told the story that when he went in to have them done, everybody kept saying, and Hank wasn't under, he was fully aware, and they were saying, do you know how old that guy is? They were all in amazement, and Hank said, I can hear you. So he gets that all the time, and we're very grateful, and it never falls on a stale ear. But anyway, so we have this new eye doctor, thanks to Hank and his research, and this guy is a real trip, and he's wonderful. And his wife is very, very interested in this whole health point, health, wellness. They want to know exactly what we did, and they're bragging about it to their clients. And so I come out of my, I needed to get contact lenses and I didn't have an eye doctor and I wanted to start with him. So I went in for my checkup and he gave me the, the contact prescription, which by the way, for the last 4 years remained the same, which to me, remaining the same is progress, you know. Um,
Mhm.
but anyway, so we were out there and the doctor said, "Can you believe this? I've been telling Jill here, and this Jill is his one of his clients, and she's paying. She's getting ready to leave her appointment." And then his wife butts in, and yeah, oh, she's a health coach. And I said to somebody the other day that I was counseling, this girl is learning to be a health coach, and she's one of our IBOs, our business owners, and she's tiny. So somebody's not going to drop their teeth and say, "Oh, I can't believe how good you look. You've lost so much weight." That's not going to happen. So that kind of approach to people is not going to work for her. So we talked about different approaches, and sometimes when people will say, you start talking about age or health or whatever, many times people will say, "Wow, that's amazing. I need to do something like that." They'll drop little tidbits like that, and then that's when you can say, "Hey, you know what? I fell in love with the program a while back. I followed the program. I love it. It's a healthy program. You can lose weight. In some cases, especially due to lifestyle, you can get off medications. You can add wonderful, healthy years to the end of your life. Many aches and pains that are lifestyle related. So you just give a little tidbits." And so I said to this gal, so she asked me, "Well, so what do you do with the coaching?" So then I went through that little bit of thing, and I said, and many people get on it because they want to lose some weight. You don't want to say it's a weight loss program only, because then what they're doing is the barrier goes up, and they don't want you to say that they've got to lose weight. So anyway, when I said that, her arms went up and flailed, and she said, "Me." So I said, "Well, you know what? Let's exchange cards and let's have a cup of coffee and continue this conversation." So she whips out her card. She happens to be a travel advisor. And she said, "You have cards." And so I gave her a card. She said, "Do you have any more? I want to pass these out." So anyway, we have an appointment Tuesday. All that being said, that no matter where you're at, you might be losing weight and people are saying, "Wow, what are you doing?" People might find you on Facebook and say, "Whoa, this woman is changing. She's transforming." Or it might be a total stranger that you meet that's complaining about something. Or when you ask them what they do and you tell them, "I'm a health and wellness coach," and then they ask you more about that. Is there's people, and my point is there's people everywhere. Most of them need to lose weight, whether they want to admit it or not, but many of them want to get a healthier, happier lifestyle, and you can help everybody with that. So sometimes it's just creating a conversation with people. And as I say to many of our business owners, ask purposeful questions. When they ask you questions, ask targeted questions that will lead you into a direction you want to go. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't, sometimes they're not open, but this is how you pay it forward. You just become either a walking advertisement, a walking transformation, or just a person out there interested in helping other people. But there's people everywhere. And I would say, as I said last week, let's not become a club. We love our club, but let's become a community. And that's what I really believe we are. Let's constantly be bringing in fresh new people on Saturday mornings and Monday evenings. And of course, August 11th, we're going to be starting a new cohort. So now's the time to start paying it forward. So I just wanted to give you that little example yesterday, and not bloviating on me at all. That is not the issue. It's the point that no matter where you're at, if you lost weight 20 years ago, you can still utilize "I'm a coach." And people that aren't going to notice a difference you'll create an interest in another arena. So that was my little take today, Eric. I'll turn it back over to you.
Love that. Love that. Absolutely. If anybody else, and speaking of new people, any new people or newer people that are on here that care to unmute and share. I know we were talking earlier about audios and how audios listening can be unique or strange, something that those of us that are coaching, that are business owners, is very much like breathing. But if you're a new person and you have that perspective and you maybe have a particular audio or audios that you've listened to that were kind of your favorite or kind of meaningful, feel free to chime in here on the walk and talk. We'd love to hear from the newer people. We do realize that a lot of people at this hour are probably still in their pajamas with a cup of coffee, so you don't have to go on camera. But if you want to unmute, just know that you're always just unmute and butt in. This is not something where you have to be super formal or procedural about it. Just butt in on that. But one of the things that you were just circling back about the audio is that we mentioned this is a new asset. It's a very, very wonderful, they anticipated the need that we had better than I think we even knew. I mean, when I say we, I know, Carol, you and I countless times we're having conversations about, wanting to have this supplement for the mind, as you so well said, because we know it's not, yes, at the end of the day, it does come down to the mechanics of your, what are you eating for breakfast, lunch, and dinner? What are you supplementing on, stuff like that. Yes, but upstream from that and just embedded throughout the entire journey is, how are you thinking? I know Emily, as my wife, has always said, I mean, it's the mindset. It's the mindset, is what it is. Okay. And then, so then it's like, okay, well, how do you affect the mindset? Do you just say, hey, it's important for you to have a good mindset? You can say that all you want. It's like, okay, how did we get it?
Yes.
It's from primarily the audios. I mean, there's other things. It's the books, super important. It's, attending functions. That's one thing that Nicole Baines really hits on, or at least inserts it in the new first 5 audios that are in the app, is about functions. There's things that a coach may ask a client to attend. It could be a function like a walk and talk. It could be a function like the Monday night. It could be a function like the Tuesday night or the Thursday night, or it could be a function like a BDS, a Saturday BDS that's held occasionally. And so why? These are things that affect mindset. And if somebody wants to not just lose weight and get healthy, but to get on a cadence where they're like that for the rest of their hope I still have my connectivity here.
We lost you just for a moment there, Eric.
Okay. All right. So sounds like I'm back in here.
Yeah.
So anyhow, I just wanted to mention about that mindset aspect of things. All right. Anybody else have any? I know this is summertime. We are as we were saying in our preamble here, it's like the end of July. I know it's cliche to say, wow, time is flying, but we are the end of July. We realize this is, the height of the summer. A lot of people are out and about Emily and I are out. We're at the cottage right now, so we are out doing things as well, but we're still doing the Saturday morning, 8 a.m. walk and talk. But, if anybody else has any commentary, any thoughts, any additional questions on here. All right.
You're quiet today.
Yeah. Getting that extra sip of coffee.
Well, this is Debbie. I'd like to say something.
Yes, Debbie, good morning.
Good morning. I may not be, losing the weight as quickly as I'd like, but I can say that the time that I've been on this, I no longer have the cravings. I love chocolate. I found that I can stare at at places and see things and not feel like I have to have it. I've had it in the past. I can let it go because I can truly say, as you were saying that, and I'm just starting to read Atomic Habits, but as you build on those processes every day, you are developing the mental strength to make that decision to keep your health forever. And so you can turn away from something and say, I don't need that. I've had it before. I know what it tastes like. I don't have to have that today. I can keep the commitment because health is very important to me.
Mm.
Beautiful.
Wow. Beautiful. Yeah. So great, so clear, so strong. So Debbie, what I hear you saying is that like part of it is like literally your taste buds are kind of changing a bit, and then also just your attitude towards it. Is that kind of what I'm hearing?
Yes, because I am a stress eater. So when I feel stressed, I eat. And that's always been my problem. And I'm an empath. Everyone feels compelled to tell me their problems. And so I would absorb their pain, but I used food to ease my pain. So there's a joke in the family because if you're a Star Trek, there was an episode about an empath. And that's how I've always, strangers come up to me and will tell me, and then they'll say, I don't know why I told you that. I mean, it's like they're confessing to me. And so I make it okay for them. But then if I have an issue, in the past, it has always been food.
Mm. Mm-hmm. Right.
So with this, I find I may feel the stress, but I'm not reaching for, like, I'm not endlessly putting food in my mouth without thinking. Because I'm writing it down, and that's another thing. I'm not a person that really likes to log stuff, but I'm making the commitment to do that because this has become more important than having that snack at the moment.
Mm. What that's a phrase right there. This is more important than that snack. That's you're prioritizing your health. You've got this, this window where you're working on this and you're prioritizing that over the snack is what I hear you saying.
Yes, and the other thing, when these walk and talk, when I first started joining the walk and talks, I would sit at the table and I'd eat my breakfast. Today I have gone 2,700 steps, so I'm starting to walk.
Yay!
Love it, love it.
Hey, I'll chime in
Well,
here because I can identify with Debbie. In fact, I'm going to let you guys look at my view instead of looking at. Can I reverse this?
Hey,
I
Laurel.
don't know how I reverse this, but anyway, that's my view.
Oh,
beautiful.
beautiful.
I only had to walk 1.5 miles to get that view from my house, so it's like a staycation. But anyway, yeah, for years as a counselor, we did all the training on addiction and things like that, and discovered, gosh, after years, that after every client, my secretary had a little dish of Hershey's Kisses always on her desk for the kids, and adults that would come in her office and they would take. Well, I found that after every session, I would go out there and just get one, take a little, debrief because, counseling can be tough on you emotionally, and come back in. And it wasn't until I went through my second level of addiction training and they talked about how food, whether it's sugar or whatever, it does a chemical change of you, and it can change your mood. And they were talking about why people get addicted because they're trying to alter their mood. And it's a quick way to do that. And I thought, oh my gosh, that's what I'm doing. I thought I was clearing my brain. And, I mean, all I knew is I went out there and I thought it was talking to my secretary or whatever that made the difference. But then I started realizing, geez, I see like 25, 30 people in a day. That's a lot of Hershey's Kisses if I go out there every day. Anyway, I'm the same thing as, like she said, as an empath. When you're a counselor, you have to listen, be non-judgmental. You got to reflect back to them, all those things, and it does wear on you. And if you're that kind of person, and so anyway, when she said about no cravings, that is the thing that has amazed me, because I can be an emotional eater. And I just said that to Al the other day. I said, I haven't wanted to eat anything off the plan. Really, probably after the first week. It wasn't even, it's not like I even look, like Debbie says, you look at it and it doesn't even do anything. It doesn't trigger anything. I didn't know it triggered something before, but it doesn't trigger it now because I'm aware of that. So anyway, I thought I'd jump in and add that because I know exactly what Debbie's talking about.
And I'd like to
Yeah.
blow Laurel's horn because she just made another breakthrough. I mean, she's continually making breakthroughs, but just yesterday, I think it was another breakthrough. So the plan works if you work it, right, Laurel?
That's right. You just put your blinders on and just go and don't.
That's right.
And I got a little message on my app or my phone today that said, I'm 60% of the way to my goal. I don't even remember what I set my goal for, but it's a long
Oh,
way off. But I said 60. Well, I'm over half. I'm over the
that's
I'm
right.
over the hump. So
Love it.
Bravo.
anyway,
Congratulations
Yeah,
on
you
that.
go, Laurel.
well, it helps to have you guys, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So, and it helps to have a nice. I'm very blessed that I can walk not more than a mile from my house or so and get some nice views. So, plus I'm on a dirt road today, so that's easier walking than the pavement. So, all right, that's all.
Thank
And
you, Laurel. Go ahead.
I'll go ahead and add, kind of segue with a couple of those things, talk about the view, Laurel. I was just looking out our window because I'm inside, but I was just noticing two little spotted fawns eating in the backyard off from some greens. And I thought, oh, that's cool. I love that. But then talk about community. One thing I would certainly suggest and recommend, because it truly worked for me, inspired me, and that is if you have new people who do not necessarily find the value in getting up on a Saturday morning and joining this community live, because I didn't. I was kind of like Dave, I just as soon sleep in on a Saturday finally, because you can't do it on Sunday or the rest of the week, in my case. But so I would listen to it on YouTube, because Eric, you generously reminded me, okay, well, you can do that. And so I'd listen to it on an afternoon walk. But the real magic started when I made myself get up and actually join all of you in this community live on Saturday morning. And so if somebody doesn't want to necessarily get up for the live walk and talk, inspire them by saying, hey, listen to this on your afternoon walk and talk, because there's some great information from the segments that you guys provide that you have already rehearsed or planned out. But in addition, then the comments from the counselors, the people who've gone through it, those are very, very valuable. And like I said, sending that YouTube or pointing it out, get them drawn in, and then they too would like to join the live conversation and get their steps in. It's a great way to get involved. And that's when I started really noticing that my walking was better, is to be part of it. It gave me incentive. So that's what I have to say about community.
Yeah, if I could kind of linger on that a little bit, Pam, appreciate you commenting about that and about the fawn, the beautiful view that you have there. But I'm curious, since this is an experience that you're recently had that you're kind of unpacking for us, I've got my own thoughts and theories on why it is such a shift when you attend things live. But I'm curious what your thoughts are on that. What is you so if I understood you correctly, you're saying you would listen to the YouTubes and you're grateful for that because you could listen to them in the afternoon or whenever you wanted to after you maybe slept in for this Saturday. But then you move from that to attending lives. And what I understood you to say is that you actually, you're more engaged in your own health journey as a result of that. I'm wondering if you can kind of chat about that a little bit more and maybe why that is.
Well, absolutely. Part of it is because I feel like I can contribute. Just like this comment, I don't have anything prepared, but there's an aha moment when somebody else says something that triggers a thought based on my personal experience. And when I feel kind of important enough, or that I have some significance or value to the group, that always builds your confidence, and it makes you feel good. It makes you feel like, hey, I can contribute something to this community and I feel value. I'm giving value. And I think that just boosts my ego, my confidence, and puts me on a path to say to somebody else, like somebody I might be coaching or something, to encourage them to get involved too. And so I
Hmm.
think that that's a big part of it, the opportunity to be able to contribute, even though I haven't prepared something or whatever, just to make an observation, it makes me feel good.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Thanks for kind of unpacking that more, because yeah, you yeah, this is a kind of a recent experience for you that you were sharing, and the impact that it's having. And I think, helping all of us understand, what it is that's fresh on your heart, fresh on your feelings right now, on why that is occurring the way it is, is very, very informative. And, what you're saying, it makes sense. It's like, hey, when you, and it's not necessarily prepared. You don't necessarily have a prepared docket item, nor is that, really ever an expectation for anybody. But by contributing, off the cuff, there's something that you hear somebody else say, and maybe, due to where your recent experiences are, you're like, that's kind of like you said, an aha moment. I think I could contribute on this. And then you unmute and contribute. There's something that triggers in you that makes you more engaged in your own journey. Is that about, am I hearing that correctly?
Absolutely. As all of the educators on this community know, kids learn when they get involved, when they ask questions, or when they come up with an answer, when they're excited about raising the hand, getting involved. That's when they learn. And then that sends the chills up the arms, and they get excited, like, oh, I added something cool to that, and now I am more engaged. Now I have a part of this. And then and plus, for me, it makes my walking less painful. Not that it's painful by any means, because I am enjoying it very much now. But I'm oblivious to how many steps I'm doing, because I'm just listening to everything, and then contributing when I can, and that's kind of exciting. And then I forget, ooh, time has gone by. Hey, I've got this many steps. That's cool.
Mm.
So it's that learning. It's engaging. It's engaging me for sure. And even though I might stay up really late on a Friday night, I still want to get up and get going. It's something that when I'm home and I'm able to, that I can certainly commit myself to, because it's exciting. I like it.
Uh,
Thank you for
I
tying
love
it to
it.
the children.
Yeah. Say more, Dave.
Again, you can just see, anybody who's been around kids, you can see the brightness when a child's eyes light up and they start to part, ooh, and they got their arm, ooh, Mr. Cotter, call on me, and so, and you see them engaged, and then you know that, wow, it's that, this is like really impacting their brain, and it is changing them. And so being personally involved is important. But I love that picture of the little child.
Yeah, these are my old ones.
Yeah. And somebody else is saying something. Somebody else, if there's anybody else that wants to say something, go ahead. Or maybe it was just a hot mic.
Well, I'll jump in here. I think somebody else was too, but yeah, I think probably one of the best things for me, I mean, and for people that maybe are new, who, like Pam said, I want to stay in bed, even if, and I didn't do this, but I almost did, you know, on a Saturday morning, you want to sleep in. Yeah, that is the one day you might be able to do that. You know, so have your headphones or your phone next to your bed and lay in bed from 8 to 9 and just listen. Because I listened for a long time, as others have said, because at least you hear what's going on, and you don't. In fact, I think some of the best comments and some of the most helpful ones sometimes are the ones of people screwed up. You know, like when
Mhm.
Kathy, our step queen, you know, was no longer perfect. Was like several people have said that. Oh, they're all going, thank you, Kathy. Oh my God. You know, it's like, you know, it was great to have that example, but it was great to have the good example. It was also gave everybody a little grace to go, okay, you don't have to be perfect. And I think just listening to this, it's easy to turn it off when you're watching it later. But if that's the only way you can listen to it, obviously it's good, but start somewhere. And if it's laying in your bed in your pajamas with your headphones on for an hour, I think that even has benefit. So, and by the way,
Mm.
look at this, what I just found. I'm walking in the neighborhood and I don't know if you can see it, but
Oh,
there's 2 grass tennis courts behind me. I'm like,
Oh
oh, and
my gosh.
there's nobody on them, but I got to meet these people. Okay. Anyway, that's it. Bye.
It's like you got Wimbledon in your backyard there, the grass tennis courts. I love it. Ah, so much value. I mean, that's the beauty of the tapestry of everyone here, you know, with the backgrounds. Pam, love what you're saying. Well, and Laurel also educator. We got a number of educators, you know, here that is your formal education and so forth. And knowing that and David too, you know, when the kids are engaged or as adults, when we're engaged. So I guess, you know, as I make a note to myself, kind of the key takeaway is, um, you know, to deliberately teach the value to a new person of engaging, you know, contributing, you know, when they're ready. You know, there's no, you know, here's day 1 of your 6-week cycle, hop on the walk and talk and, you know, start, you know, talking. If you're ready for that, great. But no, I love that, Pam. You know, as you mentioned in classrooms, you know, that when those kids are engaging, not just being a passive, you know, feed me, feed me, feed me, but rather raising their hand or engaging in the process, they're kind of contributing. And I imagine if they're kind of contributing to the other students in the class, maybe in what they're sharing, that increases their own level of learning. So thank you so much for everything. But this final minutes of our hour here again is once again just showing how phenomenal this group, this tapestry of Health Point coaches and clients are. So thank you everyone for contributing. We have done it again. We have wrapped up another 1 hour of our Saturday morning, and this is our last one, I think. Will this be our last one of July? I'm pretty
yes,
sure.
yes.
Yes. Yes. So we'll see everyone in August next week, same time, same place. Thanks again, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.